Namaste and welcome to Hatha Yoga, mixed level physical practice with pranayama breathwork and ending in 10 minutes of guided mindfulness meditation. So for this practice, you'll want to have a couple of yoga blocks. If you like to have something besides that to sit on as we begin, you might use a cushion of some kind. So find a way to sit comfortably where you can evenly root down through the left and right bottom sides of your pelvis and sit tall. Let your body feel relaxed. You might take a moment to shift around as you physically and mentally make a conscious transition from whatever you were just doing to now arriving in your practice of yoga. That might entail closing your eyes, maybe resting a hand on your chest, a hand on your belly, and allowing a few deeper, grounded feeling breaths. I'd like to share an excerpt from a book called Your Body Knows the Answer, Using Your Felt Sense to Solve Problems, Affect Change, and Liberate Creativity. It's written by David I. Rome. So we've been talking about felt sense in our past few classes. So I want to dive a little bit more into that and how it can actually help us to in our meditation practice. So in this excerpt, it cites the English poet John Keats, who wrote about a concept he called negative capability. And he explains that it's when a person is capable of being in uncertainties, mysteries, doubts, without any irritable reaching after fact and reason. So even though the word negative is in there, it doesn't connotate anything unpleasant. It actually is negative in the means of, in the sense of being empty of specific content, uncertain, unclear. And he points to a creative mental state of not knowing that is able to remain calm and open without an irritable reaching after fact and reason. And he says that negative capability is crucial to the creative process of artists, as well as contemplative practices such as meditation and finding felt sense. The biologist and cognitive neuroscientist Francisco Varela called something reversal of attention. It's where one suspends one habitual flow of thought and feeling so as to make room for a different way of paying attention. And to say it more simply, this is called mindful focusing. And it begins with creating a gap in our habitual patterns of physical, psychological, and mental activity. And this gap is empty of specific content, yet not empty of awareness. It is simply awareness itself, open and receptive, conscious without needing any object to be conscious of. It's a state of grounded, aware presence. So useful to let go of the narratives in the mind that can perpetuate anxiety, worry, some sort of suffering, to create that grounded, aware presence. We're going to go into detail in our guided meditation in a practice of that. But I just bring this idea of what helps you to feel a sense of inner stability that's groundedness, not only physical body, but includes physical body, but mentally, psychologically. So we're going to come into our bodies, practice concentrating and focusing in asanas and pranayama, and then we'll sit in meditation. So as you continue to deepen your breath, maybe join your hands to meet at your heart. Allow moments to clarify an intention for yourself in this practice today. It might be a simple word or phrase, setting the tone or lens through which you'd like to practice, or something more specific. You might also consider making an offering of today's practice for someone else that you'd like to send loving kindness to. Calling them to mind now. And let's begin by chanting together to create a resonant space, the sound of Om 3 times. Inhale deeply. Beginning a practice called Ujjayi Pranayama, victorious breathing. Let's use this technique of breathing to help our minds and bodies feel steadiness, focus, and easefulness. So closing the lips, softly narrow the back of your throat. Engage your mind in a soft whispering sound by constricting the back of the throat gently as you inhale and exhale slowly and evenly through your nose. So listen to that deep, steady rhythm of breathing as you start to make your way up to stand at the top of your mat. Let's begin in mountain pose, and you may like to have 2 blocks in front of your feet, especially if you'd like to place your hands on blocks when you fold forward instead of pressing into the ground. So separate your feet hips width apart and parallel to each other, standing tall. Join your palms together at your heart in Padasana, hands to heart center in mountain pose. Centering on your tone you set to your intention for this practice. We'll begin to move in Sun Salutation C, listening to your breath to pace the movement. Surya Namaskar C. As you inhale, sweep your arms forward, roll your shoulders back and down and gaze up, Urdhva Hastasana. As you exhale, bow slowly over your legs. Plant your fingertips on the ground and inhale, step your left knee behind you into a kneeling lunge, gazing up. Holding your breath, step into plank pose, top of a push-up. As you exhale, slowly lower your knees, then your chest, then your chin in Ashtangasana. Inhale, slide forward onto your belly, entering Cobra pose, rolling your shoulders back. Exhale, lift your hips high and back into downward facing dog. Inhale, step your left foot forward beside your left thumb. Lower your right knee and gaze up. Exhale, step your right foot forward and bow. Inhale, slowly rise to stand, raising your arms, rolling your shoulders back, gaze up. Exhale, join your hands in prayer at your heart center. Once more, side 2. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Exhale, slowly fold over your legs, Uttanasana. Plant your fingertips down. Inhale, step your right knee back into Anjaneyasana, looking up. As you hold your breath, step into plank. Exhale, Ashtangasana, lower knees, chest, then chin. Then inhale, slide to the ground in Cobra, Bhujangasana, rooting down through the tops of your feet. Exhale, tuck your toes, lift your hips, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Inhale, step your right foot forward beside right thumb, lower left knee, gaze up. Exhale, step your left foot forward and bow. Inhale, slowly rise, coiling your chest open. Exhale, Padasana, hands at your heart. Let's continue on to Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, sweep the arms up again. Exhale, forward fold. This time, press your hands either on blocks or the floor, and inhale, lengthen your spine into Ardha Uttanasana. Stepping back to plank, the belly lifted, your spine long. As you exhale, glide forward. Slowly graze your elbows by your side ribs, lowering through Chaturanga Dandasana. And then either inhaling to Cobra or Upward Facing Dog, the latter where your pelvis stays lifted. Exhale, Downward Facing Dog. Let's spend about 5 breaths here. If your body is needing to move around, feel free. Take any movements that your body is needing, like pedaling your feet, shaking your head. And come back to the sound of your breathing. Letting that sound bridge body, mind, and the present moments. Listening to one more slow cycle of breath. And after you've emptied it, walk or lightly jump to the top of your mat into Uttanasana, forward fold. Then press with your hands. Inhale to half forward fold, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, again fold. Inhale, slowly rise to Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, join your hands in Padasana. Let's take that one more time, Surya Namaskar A, but this time we'll end in Downward Dog. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, gaze up. Exhale, Uttanasana, fold. Inhale, lengthen to Ardha Uttanasana, either step to plank or lightly jump into Chaturanga Dandasana. Lower into your vinyasa, inhaling to Cobra or Upward Facing Dog. Exhale to Downward Facing Dog. Let's pause here for 3 breaths, cultivating stillness in the body, steady gaze or drishti, and balanced, mindful breath. And from here, step your feet together in Downward Dog so they touch. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you. As you exhale, slowly bend your right knee towards your nose, activating your abdomen to gently step the foot forward. Right between your hands, spin the left heel down. Align your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot. Then inhale as you cartwheel your arms and rise up into Warrior Two. So bending your right knee directly on top of your right heel. Firm the outer edge of your left foot into the ground. Spinning your right thigh open so your kneecap points towards the pinky toe. Wrap your right sitting bone under your body and firm the top of your left thigh bone back. Relaxing your shoulders right above your hips. Invite a tall, spacious spine. Steadying your gaze just past your right hand. Another 2 or 3 breaths. Virabhadrasana 2. Keeping your feet where they are, let's prepare for Trikonasana, triangle pose. Straighten your right leg and glide your hips sideways towards the rear edge of your mat as you lengthen your torso towards your front wall. Place your right hand just to the right side of your right shin on a block of the floor where you can stack your shoulders and wrists in one straight line. Keep rolling your right sitting bone under you and tack the crease of your right hip back towards your left outer foot. As you spiral your chest slightly to face the sky, land your gaze on one point. Shoulders resting away from the neck as you lengthen the crown of your head forward. About 3 more breaths here. Let's prepare for half moon pose. Gaze at the ground just in front of your right toes and shift your weight forward, placing the right hand about 6 inches ahead of your right pinky toe towards the right outer corner. Drag your left foot forward, flexing it as you raise the left leg about parallel to the floor. Creating the same shape as triangle pose. Steady your eyes on one spot and let's tune into about 4 more breaths here in Ardha Chandrasana. So the physical theme in our practice is bringing our hips into abduction, which is splaying them away from the midline of your body, sometimes referred to as hip opening. As you sense the next exhalation, take just as slow to land back in Warrior Two left foot to the rear of your mat. Inhale in warrior two, and then exhale back to downward facing dog with your feet together touching. Right to the next side. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Exhale, draw your belly in and softly step the foot between your hands. Spin your right heel down. Align left heel to intersect arch of right foot, and inhale to rise up. Virabhadrasana 2. Warrior 2. Bending your left knee right above your left heel. Press the outside edge of your right foot into the earth. Spinning your left sitting bone under you. Firm the top of your right thigh bone back. Tuning into 3 or so more breaths. Let's prepare for Trikonasana. Straighten your left leg. Glide your hips sideways towards your rear wall and lengthen your torso towards the front wall. Placing your left hand just to the left side of your left shin. Creating a wide wingspan across your arms as you spin your chest slightly towards the sky. Land your eyes with intention. Feel the intentionality of your breath, your physical alignment, and your focus. And turn your gaze down just in front of your left foot, preparing for half moon pose. Bend your left knee, plant your left fingertips on a block of the floor, forward and to the left of your left foot. Dragging your right foot forward, flex it off the ground. Recreate the feeling and shape of triangle pose. Letting your attention stabilize through the sound of your breath. Ardha Chandrasana. When you're ready, with a slow exhalation, step your right foot to the rear of your mat in Virabhadrasana 2. And with an exhale, lower down to downward facing dog. Slow breath in. Find the very bottom empty. And on empty, walk or float your feet to the top. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Reaching your arms overhead, gaze up. Exhale, join your hands together at your heart. So let's begin Sun Salutation B, and we'll go right into breath-led movement. So empty this breath, feet together touching. And as you inhale, bend your knees together touching. Sit back towards your heels as you raise your arms up in chair pose, Utkatasana. Exhaling, shift your weight forward and hinge from your hips in Uttanasana. Press with your hands, inhale, lengthen to Ardha Uttanasana. Step to plank or float lightly into Chaturanga Dandasana. Take it through your vinyasa on your own. Meeting in downward facing dog. When you arrive there, inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Exhale, engage the belly to softly land the foot beside your right thumb and spin your left heel down. As you face forward, inhale, rise fully into Warrior One. Exhale all the way down from plank to Chaturanga. Finish your vinyasa. Downward dog, inhale, raise your left leg back. Exhale, gently step the foot beside your left thumb. Spin your right heel down. Inhale, rise up into Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale all the way down into your vinyasa. Pause in downward facing for 3 deep breaths, cultivating steadiness and ease again. Feel the weight of your body on the ground through your hands and feet. A sense of stability. When you're ready, empty the breath and walk or jump lightly to the top. With feet touching, inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. With knees touching, inhale, sit back in chair or Utkatasana. And exhale to rise. One last time, Surya Namaskar B, flowing to the breath. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Insert your vinyasa at your pace of breath. Keep going at your pace from downward dog. Inhale, raise right leg. Exhale, step it forward. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, vinyasa. Keep going to your left side when you arrive at downward dog. Inviting the feeling sense of union between your body, breath, and mind. Union yoga. When you finish the left side, pause for at least 3 breaths, slowing it down again, rebalancing. And when you're ready to, we'll meet at the top of your mat. Feet touching. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Bending your knees. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair. Exhale, Padasana, all the way up. And just sense the breath here. Sense your energy. Sense your presence. As you keep listening to the breath, take your blocks, please, and place them on their tallest height as you're stepping your feet, your hips width apart at the top of the mat. Frame your heels with your blocks. And then bring your hands to your hips and step your left foot back 2/3 as far as you did in Warrior One, where you can ground both feet entirely, straighten both legs, and keep your hips facing forward. Let's prepare for twisting triangle pose, Parita Trikonasana. So keeping your right hand on your right hip, just to keep this right hip slightly drawing back, because as we start to twist, what might happen is, or as we start to fold, the right hip might want to come more forward than the left. So just to remind that right hip to stay even with the left, using the right hand. Press to your feet, raise your left arm, and then hug in the belly. Feel the activeness there. Breathe in, draw the shoulders down, and lengthen your spine forward parallel to the ground. Now reach for the left block or the floor if you don't need the block. Place the hand under your left shoulder there. And as you exhale, keep your pelvis still and begin twisting to your right. So you're rotating your rib cage without rotating your pelvis. And then eventually raise the right arm up so that you're inviting your shoulders and wrists to stack in one line, just like they did in triangle pose. Now, if your balance feels pretty steady and you'd like to go further in the twist, you might place the left hand on the right side of your front foot. With each inhalation, press firmly to your feet, feel your groundedness, and lengthen your spine down the midline of your mat. Shoulders down the back, and with each exhalation, hug your outer hips towards each other to stabilize your pelvis, not twisting there, and continue to rotate your right ribs towards the sky, your left ribs towards the right wall for about 2 or 3 more breaths. Once again, steadying your gaze, your drishti. Now looking down at your right foot, take your hands onto your blocks, placing the blocks just ahead of your right toes on their tallest height. Look ahead of the blocks and shift your weight into your right leg into standing splits. So as you flex your left foot, rotate your left outer hip to face the ground. Spiral the inseam of your left leg towards the sky as you raise that left leg and bow towards your right shin, breath by breath. You might opt to take hold of your right ankle or calf with 1 or 2 hands. If you want to challenge your balance some more, try to relax the back of your neck and your tongue. Maybe the eyes too. About 3 more breaths. Slowly step your left foot beside your right foot, so your feet are hips width at the top, forward fold. Place your blocks on their tallest height to frame your heels again. Bring your hands to your hips, point your elbows to the sky, and as you breathe in, slowly rise all the way to mountain pose. Let's step the right foot back 2/3 as far as you did in Warrior One. Both heels on the floor, legs straight, hips squared forward. Keep the left hand holding the left hip back and raise the right arm. Inhale, lengthen your spine forward, parallel to the ground. Lower the right hand to start on the right side of your front foot, block of the floor. Now as you exhale, keep the pelvis still and begin spinning your rib cage to face the left wall. Raise your left arm up. You might opt to place the right hand on the left side of your front foot. Each inhale, ground to your feet and lengthen through the crown of your head. Shoulder blades down the back. Each exhale, stabilize your hips and rotate your rib cage. Listen to about 3 to 4 more cycles of breath here in Parita Trikonasana, twisting triangle pose. Now looking down at your left toes, take your blocks in your hands on their tallest height, just ahead of your left toes. Shift your weight forward, standing splits. Flex your right foot, raise the right leg from the inseam and bow towards your left shin. Breath by breath, option to walk your hands closer to your standing foot or to hold the calf. Let your skull just fall and release any holding in the neck or the jaw or the face. Once again, Uttanasana, both feet at the top of your mat. And this time, bend your knees, clasp or interlace your fingers behind your lower back, and stretch the arms forward for a few deep breaths. Maybe even sway the spine gently as you straighten one leg and then the other. Let your head hang loose. Let your spine hang loose as you lift the shoulders away from the neck. Sense the quality of the breath here. And then plant your fingertips alongside your feet. Step your left knee behind you into a kneeling lunge. Untuck the back toes if you need more cushion under the knee. You can fold the mat thicker on the left side or place a towel underneath. Now, make sure your legs are your hips width apart. Front knee is right on top of the heel, not in front of it. Then isometrically drag your legs towards each other. Create a sense of stability so that you can root down and rise. As you raise the arms overhead, spin your outer upper arms to face your front wall and draw your shoulder blades down your back ribs. Lift your frontal hip bones slightly towards your lowest ribs. So rather than sinking the pelvis so much that the belly is Relaxed and resting on the right thigh, lift the belly in towards your spine and up towards your heart as you're isometrically dragging the right foot back. So there's no visible movement of the right foot. And then little by little, you might coil your chest up from right under your shoulder blades, hands together or apart. Land your eyes on one focal point, and let's tune into 3 more breaths in Anjaneyasana. And then start to place your hands alongside your front foot again, preparing for another hip opening posture, single pigeon. As you're dropping your right thigh open, slide your right heel towards the left edge of your mat, towards the left hip, and lower to sit. Turn both of your hips to equally face forward. And if that entails the right glute lifting off the ground, then place a block or something like it to fill the gap. Relax the back toes again. And if you find that your right shin is able to parallel with the front edge of your mat, then make sure you're flexing your right foot in this pose. It helps to stabilize the knee. As you breathe in, lift your heart, roll the shoulders back. You might stay upright. You might come into king pigeon, back stroking the left arm, catching the inner left ankle or foot, or you might bow forward. We're here for about 5 more deep breaths. The end of the next breath, please start to make your way into standing forward folds at the front of your mats. Feet hips width apart, parallel to each other. From there, press down with your hands. Inhale to half forward fold, lengthen the spine forward. Exhale, step your right knee back into a kneeling lunge. The legs hips width apart, front knee right on top of the heel, not in front of it. If you need, fold the mat under your right knee for more cushion. As you untuck the back toes, isometrically drag your legs towards each other, lift your frontal hip bones, and raising the arms, wrap your triceps forward, press your shoulder blades down. Hands together or apart. Landing your gaze. Let's concentrate on balancing another 4 deep breaths. And then land your hands to frame your left foot again. Splay your left thigh open and drag your right heel to the right edge of your mat in single pigeon pose. Square your hips evenly to face the front, maybe placing a prop under the left glute if that's helpful. And if your left shin is parallel to the front edge of your mat, make sure you're flexing your left foot. And then invite you to explore the same variation, if possible, that you practiced on the first side. King pigeon, reaching for the back foot, bowing forward, tuning into 5 full breaths. And start to lift your torso upright, this time meeting in plank pose, your version, knees on the floor or legs straight for a few breaths in plank. Feel the center line of your body. Think of it as a strong, long line of energy lengthening in both directions, forward and back. Lift the sides of your belly, roll your triceps towards the rear wall. Gaze on the ground just ahead of your thumbs, lengthening your neck. And with a slow descent of several breaths, maybe even pause in Chaturanga, glide forward, graze your elbows to touch your side ribs, and slowly lower onto your belly. Preparing for our final 3 back bends. Slide your knees close together. Rest your forehead on the ground. Let's prepare for bow, Dhanurasana. As you bend both knees, reach back with your hands to catch hold of your inner or outer feet or ankles. Flex your feet, press your pubic bone into the ground, and as you kick your feet into your hands, pull them towards you, lifting your knees no wider than hips width apart. Draw your shoulder heads back and look slightly down, lengthening the back of your neck, feeling the lift in your chest for 5 or more breaths of your count before you lower to rest. Once you've lowered everything, let your body do nothing but breathe here for 3 breaths. Our second of 3 back bends, I invite you into practicing full locust pose, Shalabhasana. Once again, bring your knees close together. This time we'll keep the legs straight. Spread your toes and press down through every toenail so the tops of your feet are flat on the floor. Bring your arms down by your thighs with your palms face down. And as you inhale, keep your feet on the ground and peel your shoulders behind you, lifting your chest and head. Look slightly down so you're lengthening the neck. Keep breathing here. And if your lower back is free of any injuries, you might lift your feet off the ground as well. Open up the arms, back by your sides, or turn the palms to face forward and open the arms wide like wings. Maybe bring the arms overhead so the palms face each other, shoulder blades down the back. Give it a total of 5 or more breaths before you lower to rest. Try to have your upper arms alongside your ears if your arms are forward. And once you've let it go, relax the body. 3 breaths. To transition to our last back bend, please press back into child's pose. Sliding your hips to meet your heels, extend your arms forward for just a couple of breaths here. Then roll your spine upright to sit. Come to sit at the center of your mat and bring your feet forward, parallel to each other on the floor. If you'd like to add some lower back stability support, you can hug a skinny block between knees and thighs. Come on down to your back and bring the arms close to your sides. Slide your feet towards your hands until you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not quite that close. Parallel your feet to each other, ground your shoulders, and tilt your chin back slightly, opening your throat. Prepare to lift your hips and stay in bridge for your count of 5 or more breaths. When you're ready, press down through the 4 corners of each foot, tilt your tailbone up, and lengthen the fronts of your thighs forward. Without moving your feet, isometrically drag the heels back towards your glutes. Walk your upper arms closer together under your back ribs, keeping your arms straight. If your hands meet, you might interlace the fingers. Press down with the outsides of your upper arms. Feel the breath expanding in your chest, the area of your heart center, fronts of the hips, belly. Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, bridge pose. When you're ready to come down with a slow exhalation, gently lower your upper back, middle back, pelvis last. Pause a moment, dropping the knees apart, soles of the feet together, maybe resting a hand at your heart center, a hand at your lower belly for about 5 slow exhalations. Breathing in for a count of 5, breathing out for a count of 7 to invite deeper relaxation into your mind and body. Supta Baddha Konasana, supine bound angle pose. And bring your hands to your outer thighs, and like you're closing a book, draw your bent knees together, turn to one side, and press yourself up to sit. With your legs in front of you, let's prepare for a seated spinal twist. Straighten your left leg forward and step your right foot on the ground, either in front of your right hip or crossed outside of your left knee. You might also bend the left knee there. Place the right hand behind your pelvis, sit tall as you breathe in, raise the left arm. Exhale as you twist to the right and lower your left arm to hold your right leg, or hook your elbow outside of that thigh. Twisting for about 4 more breaths. Exhaling, unwind your spine, and let's switch sides. Straighten your right leg forward and step your left foot on the ground in front of your left hip or crossed outside your right knee. Try to balance the way you did it on the first side. Maybe bend the right knee. Left hand on the ground behind your pelvis. Raise your right arm and sit tall as you breathe in, twisting to your left as you breathe out. Hold your left leg or hook your right elbow outside of it. About 4 more breaths. And as you empty the breath, unwind your spine and slide your legs straight in front of you for Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. Separating your feet hips width apart, ground to your sitting bones and flex your feet. Raising your arms, draw your shoulders down and open your throat as you broaden and lift your chest, hugging in the belly. Breathe in here, sit a little taller. As you exhale, hinge forward just a little bit. Inhale, ground the pelvis, lengthen the spine. Exhale, hinge forward a little more. You can walk your hands down the backs of your legs or maybe clasp your big toes. With your next inhale, lift up halfway and lift the chest. Peel the shoulders back, lengthen the back of your neck, keep the throat open, and then continue to bow for about 4 more breaths. Rooting down to your hips, breathe in to slowly rise. Please find a comfortable seated position for one more pranayama practice before we enter corpse pose. Sitting grounded, tall and relaxed. Let's prepare to practice 4 rounds of box breathing, Samavriti Pranayama, a way to relax the nervous system and invite a feeling of groundedness. You might bring the thumb and first finger to touch, and to enhance grounded feeling, place the palms face down. Close your eyes or steady a soft gaze on one spot. We'll breathe just through the nose, inhaling for a count of 4, holding it in for a count of 4, exhaling a count of 4, and holding it out for a count of 4. Slow breaths. Prepare to begin by emptying this breath. Then inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Second round. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep going. 2 more cycles. When you finish, relax into natural breathing. Notice how you feel. You might keep your eyes closed as you gently begin to lower your body to the ground. Finding a comfortable way to rest as you're lying down still. A few minutes of corpse pose, Shavasana. Eyes closed, natural breath. Inviting your awareness deeper inward. Staying here another minute. Rest your attention throughout your body, sensing the way it feels now after your asana yoga practice. Taking your time and gently begin to move your body out of stillness, slowly waking it up. You might begin by wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes, gently turning your head, and graduate into an easy stretch, like raising your arms overhead. Slowly moving to your right side, turning over and resting your head. Pausing a moment as you notice the breath. Feeling your energy in any way it may have shifted as a result of your practice. And take your time lifting your body up. Once again, please find a comfortable way to sit. Now entering our 10 minutes of guided mindfulness meditation. You might choose to place your hands in the similar mudras earlier, that grounding mudra, or one of your own. As our practice today is centered on grounding, as I talked about in the beginning, the theme of mindful focusing. As David Rome writes, mindful focusing begins with creating a gap in our habitual patterns of physical, psychological, and mental activity. This gap is empty of specific content, yet not empty of awareness. It is simply awareness itself, open and receptive, conscious without needing any object to be conscious of. It is a state of grounded, aware presence. And that is what our meditation practice is about today. So as you're finding a comfortable seated position, simply become aware of your body. Sense its position, weight, and inner space. Now gently bring your attention to the base of your spine, at the bottom of your pelvis, your seat, where your body is supported by whatever you are sitting on. Feel the weight of your whole body and how it is planted on the earth. Trusting yourself to the earth's solidity. Let your body really settle and be at ease. Appreciate the simplicity of being bodily present here and now. Literally sensing your groundedness for the next minute. Resting your attention there. If your awareness strays away from it, I invite you to mentally repeat the word to yourself, grounded, grounded, to bring your awareness back to the feeling. Next, bring your attention to your head. Concentrate your awareness on your sense of hearing. Be open and sensitive to any sound from the environment, especially the kinds of background noise that we usually don't notice at all. You can note sounds with a simple mental label: bird singing, traffic noise, refrigerator hum. But try not to enter into any discursive thought process. At the same time, try to notice the larger quality of silence that surrounds whatever you hear from moment to moment. Sense the whole space around you, extending even beyond the walls and what you can see from where you sit. Experience the vast panoramic quality of awareness. And if your attention strays away from the present moment, I invite you to mentally repeat to yourself the word aware, aware, as a bridge back to hearing sounds in silence. Practice that for the next minute. And now move your attention into the center of your chest. You might place your hand gently over your heart and experience the quality of presence. You are simply here, alive, breathing, feeling, experiencing your basic existence. It is happening right now, at this very moment. As you rest your awareness on being present, if your attention goes astray, in the next minute, I invite you to repeat the word present to yourself as a bridge back to the feeling of presence. Finally, let your attention encompass your whole body And mentally say to yourself, grounded, aware, presence. Grounded, aware, presence. Coming back to the feeling and your experience of these 3 words. I invite you now to gently open your eyes if they're closed and raise your gaze, extending your grounded, aware presence to include the environment around you. Integrating the feeling of these words outside of formal practice. Remembering that meditation is meant to be integrated into our daily lives. And with that, let's close the practice. Maybe join the hands at your heart. Recognize what you're feeling now mentally, emotionally. Perhaps offering gratitude for anything that you wish to appreciate. And restating your intention for your practice. Remembering the offering you made for someone or something. Let's join our voices, chanting Om 3 times. Deep breath in. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.